Hi, this is Stuart Zell and welcome to this month's educational video, specifically talking on the topic of farm areas. Now, I am relating this topic today to the strategies that we teach. That is, how to become a profitable renovator, a profitable developer, a profitable distressed housing buyer, commercial property, etc. However, the concept is equally applicable to many areas of your life. However, as you know, we are about training financially independent property entrepreneurs. So with that, I'm sure you're all familiar with the concept of farming. That is where you own or lease a piece of property and you farm it for a profit. Now, a farmer will obviously acquire the land. They will then do their research, or based on local knowledge, they'll decide what they're going to plant. They'll prepare the soil, they'll sow the seed, they'll tend the crop, they'll do whatever else is required, and eventually, if everything goes according to plan, they will reap a profit. And property is exactly the same, my friends. Hence the concept of the farm area. Now, I first heard this concept many years ago getting started. I was actually working with one of the leading real estate agents in Australia. This gentleman's name was Nicholas, based in Melbourne, Australia. And this is where I first heard the concept. And he had quite an inspiring story. And I'll relate it as best I can. Nicholas, from a very young age, knew he wanted to be in property. Real estate was his thing. So at the age of 15 and 16, he was knocking on the door of his local real estate franchise to be a sales agent, to sell properties. They said, no, you can't. The law requires you to be a certain age. I think it might have been 18 at the time. I'm not 100% sure on that one. So they said, well, what you can do is we can pay you to drop leaflets and do that sort of thing. Now, being young, he didn't have a car, didn't have money, just had his push bike and his legs. So what he did is he would just walk the local neighborhood and he would drop the the monthly flyers or houses for sale in the letterbox offers. Sometimes he'd go up to the neighbors' doors and slip them under the door, that sort of thing. Now, because he was just basically a kid and non-threatening, he got to know all the neighbors, and sooner or later he got they started asking him questions about what was selling, what the guy next door was doing up the street, all that sort of stuff, and he became quite knowledgeable in the area and trusted, even despite his young age. So what happened is Nicholas would then funnel that information back to the sales reps in his office, and they were able to generate sales off that by being first to the punch, if you will. Now, I'm not sure financially how that worked or what the compensation was for Nicholas there. However, what I do know is the big payoff was this. That went on for a number of years. He became extremely well known and proficient in that area. And just the area that he could walk or ride his push bike, after school and that sort of thing. And when the time did come, he was of age, he did become a real estate agent with that franchise. And in his first year at the age of 18, he became the #1 salesperson in that franchise, I believe, nationwide. And hence he developed the concept of the farm area. So if we look at that, you might say you have an area or a suburb. So let's say your suburb looks something like that. In that, there might be 10,000 houses in your suburb. However, Nicholas said, that's fine, but it's too much to focus on. What we want to do is focus on a little bit that he called your farm area. Now, Nicholas's farm area, typically he suggested was 1,500 houses. So 1,500 homes, he said, was about the amount you could concentrate on. Now, this was built with some other information, and that was, at the time, the average house in his area, or in Australia at the time, sold every 7 years. So there's 1,500 homes in his farm area. Every single one of them, in theory, sells every 7 years. Now, some sell more, some sell less frequently. We get that. But on average, the average house sells every 7 years. So that means if you divide 1,500 by 7, you'll find out that there's about 214 houses within your farm area that will go to market every year. Your job, of course, is to be the one that sells them if you're in real estate sales. Now, the same concept applies to being a property entrepreneur. You've still got to do the research or the local knowledge. You've got to identify an area that is conducive to your strategy. Be that renovations, be that developments, be that distressed housing, whichever strategy you choose to follow. So that's where the research goes in up front. And then, of course, you need to prepare the soil, which is your knowledge, your skill level, And then of course you need to sow the seeds. That means you need to go out and meet people. Maybe you're going to meet all the local agents. Maybe you're going to door knock. Maybe you're going to do flyers. Whatever it is you're going to do to become familiar in that area. Not just you with it, but it with you. That is building relationships. The local shop owners, the cafe owners. Let them know who you are and what you do. Now, of course, any farmer knows you don't sow and reap in the same season. So there is a bit of a lag time there, but the work needs to be done. Now, contrast this with what other people do. They don't chase the area. What they're doing is chasing the deal. So they hear, oh, there's a distressed house for sale over the other end of the city. So they drive over there. And then there's a renovation site, to the north of the city. And then there's a development site, and they're all over the place. They're not only mixing up their strategies, just looking for any opportunity to make money. It's a short-term approach, it lacks focus, and it generally doesn't produce a sustainable result. Far better for you to identify a farm area that will be profitable and fruitful to farm, and then get to work on it. So there you have it. Don't go wide, go deep. The advantages, the compound benefits are massive. The time you save, the money you save, the relationships you build, and the networks will be exponential over time. So just to recap, my friends, build a farm area, focus on one area, prepare the soil, don't go wide, go deep, and get farming. This is Stuart Zadell. Happy farming.